hide the fact that you was messing with Yandy's husband. You know what happened when it's time for y'all to sneak in and out of places at different times to not be caught with people, but you don't know what happened in your own damn house.
The night was thick with tension long before the truth came crashing down. Screens were already glowing across the internet, whispers turning into waves, and waves turning into a storm no one was prepared for. At the center of it all stood three names, each carrying the kind of weight that could tip any world off balance. Funky Dineva, Tamar Braxton, and Mendeecees, while Yandy hovered at the edge of an explosion she never saw coming. For days, rumors had floated in the digital air, half-seen glances, awkward smiles, and too close moments captured in snippets online. But tonight was different. Tonight, Funky Dineva was live, and when he went live, everyone knew something was about to break. He adjusted his glasses, leaned toward the camera, and with a voice trembling between anger and exhaustion, he began, "Y'all, I wasn't even gonna say nothing. I was minding my business, getting ready to film my little video. And then I see this mess. And let me tell y'all something, everything y'all thought y'all were seeing."
That is why when we got dropped off at Tamar's house, I did not go upstairs. I got in my damn car and went home because you was sitting on his lap in that goddamn Uber and y'all ass was kissing, okay? And the shit made me damn uncomfortable, okay? Now, if anybody know who happened and what happened to your damn teeth, it's Mendeecees and his best friend, because they was the ones who went upstairs with you.
Baby, it was true. The comment section burst open instantly. The internet froze. The storm officially touched ground, but the story hadn't started here. No, it began back at B12. An ordinary night turned unforgettable. Tamar Braxton, radiant yet restless, had been the center of attention as usual. But something about her energy that night was different, charged, unpredictable, almost hiding something. Funky Dineva remembered every second vividly. When the Uber arrived, everyone piled in. The lights were dim, music vibrating low through the seats, and that's when he saw it, Tamar leaning closer. Then closer still, until she was practically on Mendeecees' lap. He cleared his throat awkwardly. "Tamar, you good?" She didn't answer. Her laughter dissolved into the shadows of the car while Mendeecees whispered something. That made her smile like the room had disappeared. Funky shifted uncomfortably, clutching his phone, pretending to scroll. But he wasn't scrolling. He was thinking, why does this feel so wrong? Back on the live stream, he slammed the table gently with his hand. That night? The night at B12. Y'all wanna know why I looked uncomfortable in them videos? Why I didn't go upstairs when she went inside? Because she wasn't alone. She went upstairs with Mendeecees and his friend. That's why. The chat exploded. He continued, voice cracking with the weight of secrets he had carried too long. And let me tell y'all something. People kept calling me, messaging me. Funky, why didn't you go upstairs? Why didn't you check on Tamar? Baby, I didn't need to go upstairs. Her real friend went up there. And it wasn't me. He paused. His face softened not with sympathy, but with the exhaustion of someone tired of being painted as a villain. I kept quiet. I kept all this quiet, because I didn't want to be messy. But don't push me and then act surprised when I speak. Meanwhile, across town, Tamar Braxton sat alone in her living room, watching the live stream unfold in real time. Her heart pounded with every word. Her mind spun. She had always been careful with appearances, careful with timing. But she had not been careful enough. Her phone buzzed again and again. Messages piling up. People she didn't want to hear from. People she feared hearing from. Then one message froze her. Did he really just say that? Yandy, blindsided, had tried to stay calm through the chaos brewing online. She didn't want to believe anything. She didn't want to imagine it. But every detail felt like a puzzle piece clicking painfully into place. She whispered to herself, please tell me this isn't happening. Back on the live stream, Funky Dineva wasn't done, and Tamar, girl, you know what you were doing. You know why you didn't want certain cameras rolling. You know why you were sneaking in and out of places at different times. You know why you made up stories about your teeth and refused to explain. What really happened that night? The room behind him felt suddenly smaller. His voice trembled. I didn't want to tell nobody's business. I didn't want to be this person. But don't you dare act like I'm the bad guy when you were the one playing with fire. In someone else's house, the storm outside the screen intensified. Phones buzzed. Screens flashed. Fans gasped. Critics sharpened their words, and in the silence of her home, Tamar closed her eyes, replaying every moment, every secret glance, every whispered conversation, every slip she thought no one had noticed. She whispered, this wasn't supposed to happen like this. But storms don't care what was supposed to happen. Storms just break whatever they touch, and this one, it had only just begun. The internet had barely recovered from the shock of the first wave when a second one came bigger. louder and more destructive. Notifications kept exploding across timelines as people dissected each of Funky Dineva's words, like they were gospel. Memes were already forming, edits appearing on fan pages. It wasn't just gossip anymore. It was a Category 5 social storm. Inside her home, Tamar Braxton paced the floor, hands shaking. Her phone rang again. Her manager. "Don't answer," she whispered, letting it buzz on the table. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Funky's voice echoed in her head again and again. "You know what you were doing." Tamar dropped onto the sofa, pressing her palms against her face. Why did he have to go live? Why now? But she knew why. She had pushed him. She had played too close to the edge and acted like no one had seen the fall. Across the city, Yandy sat frozen in front of her laptop. She had replayed the live stream 3 times. Every detail stung, each sentence a blow she hadn't prepared for. She closed her eyes tightly. But the images wouldn't stop, her husband's name tangled in someone else's whispers. Her phone vibrated on her lap. Mendeecees. She stared at the screen. Unable to breathe, she didn't answer. Not yet. Not until she heard everything. Meanwhile, in his apartment, Mendeecees paced the hallway restlessly. He hadn't spoken publicly yet, but calls kept dropping in, friends, castmates, producers, even bloggers trying to get a statement. But the only call he wanted to make wasn't picking up. "Come on, Yand. Pick up," he muttered, dialing again, straight to voicemail. He exhaled sharply and rubbed his temples. "This is out of control." "I didn't. It wasn't like that." Even he couldn't finish the sentence. Not out loud. He needed to talk to her. He needed to explain. But how do you explain something when the world already thinks it knows the truth? Back online, Funky Dineva ended his live stream. But the aftermath hadn't ended him. His demons were flooding, his phone ringing nonstop. His face was pale, not with regret, but with the heavy weight of what he'd unleashed. He closed his laptop slowly and whispered to himself, "Lord, tomorrow morning is gonna be hell." He wasn't wrong. Within hours, blogs had picked up the story. Thumbnails flashing dramatic captions, headlines shouting his revelations. The storm had evolved into a tornado. The next morning, Tamar finally broke. She grabbed her phone and recorded a video, shaking, emotional, but determined to reclaim her narrative. But the moment she hit record, she paused. Her eyes glistened. "Why am I still trying to explain myself to people who already made up their minds?" she whispered. She hit delete. Instead, she reached for her phone and dialed the one person she hoped would understand. Yandy. It rang. Once, twice, and then, "Hello." Tamar swallowed hard. "Yandy." But she didn't get the chance. "Tamar, stop." Yandy's voice wasn't raised. It was worse, calm, cold, controlled. "I heard everything. I don't want excuses. I don't want explanations. I just want the truth." Tamar's breath caught. "Yandy, it wasn't what. Please don't lie to me," Yandy whispered, her voice cracking at the edges. "Not after everything that's being said. Not after everything I'm seeing." Silence thickened between them. Tamar tried again. "I didn't mean for anything to blow up like this. That's the problem," Yandy replied. "You didn't mean for it to blow up, but did you mean for it to happen?" Tamar froze. Her throat tightened. There was no answer that wouldn't hurt someone. Yandy exhaled shakily. "I need time. A lot of time." The call ended. Tamar stared at her screen for a long moment before collapsing back onto the couch. Her world felt unbearably small. Across town, Mendeecees finally got through to Yandy. The moment she picked up, he spoke quickly, desperately. "Yandy, listen, please, I need to explain." "Mendeecees," she interrupted softly. "I'm not ready to talk about this. I'm not ready to forgive or forget. I just need you to be honest with me. Were you involved?" The silence stretched so long she thought the call had dropped. Then finally, "Yandy, I didn't mean for anything to get twisted. Things got messy. But I never wanted you hurt." "That's not an answer," she whispered. "I know," he murmured. Yandy closed her eyes tightly, tears slipping down her cheek. "I don't know what our future looks like right now." She hung up before he could reply. Meanwhile, Funky sat down again, looking tired, worn, and strangely reflective. He wasn't proud of how things had escalated, but he wasn't guilty either. He felt relieved. "For once, I told my side," he whispered to himself. "Let the world do what it's gonna do." And the world did exactly that. Blogs debated. Fans speculated. Critics attacked. Supporters defended. Every character in the storm was now forced to face the truth, whether it was spoken, implied, or painfully undeniable. The night ended with for people looking at their reflections, asking themselves the same silent question. What happens now? Because storms don't end just because people want them to. Some storms leave scars. Some storms expose truths. And some storms, they change everything forever. And for Tamar, Mendeecees, Yandy, and Funky Dineva, this storm was far from over. Yandy, and funky Dineva. This storm was far from over.